Here, black people, maybe I can spell this out for you a little bit better and try to tell you what white people are trying to tell you. See, white people are having what is called black fatigue, right? What's happening is black culture is starting to balloon up and get real, worse. It's getting bad or worse. And in the olden days where when niggas came up and started taking over an area, white people could get up and leave. White flight, right? We all know about it, white flight. And so they could get the fuck out so they don't have to deal with the niggatry. Okay. Well, what's happened is that the black culture has expanded and gets to the point where eventually um, you will run into somebody that is of that culture. And it's a possibility that you, know, you can become in an altercation with that person, violence. Why do I say that? Because the rates have went up drastically of violence from black people to other races, but specifically white people. So white people are saying, listen, okay, we've had enough because within society, current modernity, modern day, when it comes to race issues, society had adopted this idea that white people don't have the same, because of shit that happened in the past, white people now aren't allowed to express their racial ideas, their thought, or maybe even love of one's own. But no, they're not allowed to do that. And then there's these words they can't say. So they had all these restrictions socially. And if and when in an argument or altercation with a black person, a white person is somewhat handicapped by what buttons they could push. And most people say, "Oh, well, you don't want to be racist. Who's racist? You don't want to be racist." Yeah, well, at that point, it doesn't matter when you're just arguing in the parking lot over something stupid, and then the word bitch gets thrown around, and then disrespect gets thrown around, and then all of a sudden, depending on that person's tolerance, you know, and even within the black community, everybody's indoctrinated to have this special type of feeling for the N word, or you have a special type of feeling for racism. It's extra bad, you know? And so I've even been in altercations where things happen and something goes kind of overboard, and then the black person who is the aggressor, the perpetrator, suspect, whatever you want to call him, ends up will justify his violent actions by saying, "Oh, he called me the N word." We've all seen this. We've all seen this, right? Altercation, blah blah blah. What is a black person? Pull a race card. You call me N word? You call me a nigga? You call me a harder? And what that does is it creates somewhat of a separation between. There's no balance in like the social contract that we kind of have, right? We have, depending on your demographic and how you approach and interact with another um body. So whether you're a black male dealing with a white woman, or a white woman dealing with a white guy, whatever the case may be, there's a certain decorum that is expected. when dealing with that. This is why people will say, "Oh, so, oh my God, you did that? I'm a girl." Because socially, it's not accept certain things. It's not acceptable to do to girls, right? This same line of logic can be attributed to race when talking about the black community and specifically the white people, because the white people they're not a minority. The black community put them in a very, very special box because, again, the black community is programmed and indoctrinated and taught to have this special, I want to say hate, but and I don't want to say look sideways at, because it's even deeper than that. Like, okay, perfect. Like this, for the most part, most black people are basically kind of taught that basically all white people are racist. Now that's not everybody, but that is kind of the regular narrative. That's crazy, right? That's crazy, and that's normal. And so, you'll be having a conversation with a black guy. You say blah blah blah, and you be like, yeah, well, he was white. Oh, he was a white boy, right? I don't think the black community has taken into consideration and kind of put themselves in their white people's shoes of having to deal with something like that. Um, if they lose it and say the N word on camera, they're done. They could lose their whole livelihood because they said a word on camera. I mean, I'm not even talking about. It's not even about like racism and are you a bigot. It's just like, to the simple fact of, I can say what the fuck I want to say. You know what I'm saying? And you're not gonna threaten me. You're gonna ruin me because I said a word. It goes beyond race, really, and it's almost like especially in America, like that's un-American. You know what I'm saying? You can not like what somebody says or whatever, but to one specific word, everybody, and you get people all riled up, and then so, and another part of that was basically, bro, is you know, there's no accountability ever from the black community on our issues. Well, we have a problem um, within the youth, the young black guys. Our families are broken. This is why I said, kind of, if somebody claims to be pro-black, they want to do better for black people. They're pushing the black agenda. They love everything. It's black, black, blackity black. If you are not leading, with the leading issue being solving the broken families catastrophe, I mean, the black family is completely damn near non-existent now. It's completely been nuked to all hell. We know as a people that the nuclear family is the foundation and the basis for successful societies. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. The arrogance of you people to think that now we just change it up. Oh, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. You're raising all these up kids, and the youth all fucked up. How about this? When I was coming up in hip hop, which is basically the main, it's closer than just music. It's like, you know culture, how we operate. We do a lot of that through hip hop. Anyway, when I was coming up, uh, and you wanted to flex on somebody, or you wanted to show off, one up somebody, you used money, clothes, maybe girls, maybe, you know, um, some something, and that was used, as somewhat kind of, I mean, the whole state of the music is materialistic, but um, what's it saying? So now though, instead of it being flexing with money and cars, clothes, all that, to gain status within the drill community, which is the murder music that we have right now, is murder, is bodies, KILL count. That is how they're measuring status in hip hop now. So see, and because of that, don't tell me that this music needs saving and it's so important and it means this and that. This music that's out right now could go to fucking hell. It's trash. Should be thrown away. And it's promoting degeneracy, debauchery, just nasty things that our community doesn't need. We should be condemning this stuff. I remember when I saw really hurt my heart when I saw like $1 million worth of Gang, Gillian, Wallow, and they usually have, you know, big time artists on. Most of these names had went on his podcast and then ended up either dead or in prison. But he's telling them, yo, don't do this, do that. Their music is all about murder me and Nick, kill this, better, back, kill him, kill your mama, kill your daddy, and your uncle, and your pappy. That's all his music is. In what good conscience do you think you're doing the right thing by, you know, not shaming and condemning that young boy? Young boy don't know no better. These kids don't know no better. They're all fucked up. And they're following negative, degenerate nonsense. So there's no way you can convince me that we should be okaying and cheering on um, beef and murder of our most influential rappers. Oh, now these two beefing, they shooting at each other wherever they go, and so when I hear like hip hop pundits or hip hop journalists, people with podcasts or whatever, when they talk about, oh, this nigga has the new song or this thing has the new whatever, they just accept it. They just accept that this is where the music is. I'm not gonna rock the boat. And if you want better for black people, if you want black people to really thrive, we have to start taking accountability and start naming and calling out the bullshit that we got going on within our circle. A lot of our problems are self-inflicted. Okay, they can lie to you all the time and tell you it's that, and this and that. Bullshit. Self-inflicted. Reparations wouldn't save us. Reparations would not save us because money ain't the problem. Money's not the problem. Our culture, our mentality, our how we operate. It's not it's really not conducive to what American culture is supposed to be. This is why white people are getting upset and other races are getting upset because your behavior, your decision making bleeds into other people's lives. I'm about to walk into this store with my daughter to go buy a toothbrush or some shit. And all of a sudden we have here come 6 cars, some niggas with ski masks on. They hop out and have one of these big stealing raids. Somebody knocks over my daughter or some shit, like, it's just you know, there's no self-awareness, no awareness, or even, the idea of, giving a fuck about your fellow man. They don't. And I think the black community has really up the younger generation and kind of taught them that certain things are all right when they're not. Yeah. So, but the biggest problem is that black people are fucking brainwashed and are, you know, they're steadfast, gung ho on, oh, our problems are because of white people. Oh, our problems are white supremacy or whatever the fuck they want to point at. Which no, I disagree wholeheartedly. White supremacy, I don't even believe it, but we're not gonna go there.